I realize it's been a while since I've done a build update on this car, so let me catch everybody up to where I am at with the Fox body right now.
New bedroom, new sheets, new linen, new wardrobe, new crib, I'm grinning. You're like Rex, bro, how you feeling?
One thing about this car that I thought I had from the get-go, as you can see, it's kind of taken on a different direction than it was when I first started. I think one of the things I said in my very first video is that I'm not going to do anything spectacular to this car. So what are my plans for this car? Well, kind of underwhelming actually. I don't plan on doing anything super crazy with it. No mini tubs, I don't really want to cut it up. I'm not going to cut it up or anything like that. Well, things have changed. Directions have changed, and right now it's kind of lining up how I ultimately want this car to be. So, but before we get into all that, there are a couple things that I wanted to talk about too. I actually did select a color for the car. So, I'm in the middle of bodywork and everything now, and so I'm actually getting to that point fairly soon. But it is, it was time for me to finally select the color for the car. I was kind of torn between Wimbledon white or presidential blue, both colors from back in the day, and I have settled on Wimbledon white. One, it's closest to the original that the car was. It's closer to the two, but two, this car has had a ton of bodywork, ton, and I am confident in my abilities because it's all been done by me, but not so confident that I want to paint it a super dark color. White will still show stuff, and it's going to be, for me, it's going to be driver straight. Definitely not going to be show car straight, but I am very particular, so who knows, what anybody else would think about that, but, I just can't, I'm not spending 2 or 3 years of my time trying to get this thing laser straight. It's just not going to happen. So, Wimbledon white is the color. I didn't want Oxford. Everybody does Oxford, everybody. And I don't know, Wimbledon just has a little bit more of a soul to it. This car, as you can see, it took on kind of a different attitude altogether. Me personally, what kind of inspired the way it is now, I'm really inspired by the late 60s road race cars, the Trans Am cars, the old SCCA stuff. That stuff is really cool. How they used to flare the fender wells and just everything is kind of purpose-built race car. Obviously, this is not a race car. I'm not building a race car, but I really like the look. With that, there is a little bit of JDM thrown in here too. You're probably not going to see it now, but some of the things that they're doing over there with carbon fiber and things like that is really, really awesome. So, some of the little touches here and there are going to be kind of inspired by that once we get to that point, which we have a little ways to get there. So that's kind of the direction. What I did, I actually used the help of ChatGPT, and I kind of made a rendering of how the car is going to look. And then I'll pop that up here. It's I just use it as my main channel kind of logo. And the biggest difference is there's going to be rivets on the flares and stuff. That's not going to be there. It's all going to be molded in, looking nice. But yeah, that kind of gives you the idea of the direction I'm going without giving away too much, especially with everything that's going to be going on with this gaping hole in the hood. So that being said, at least we talked about the direction the car is going to go. So at least I've got that figured out now. I know a color, and then let's kind of go through everything that I've done since the last upload. So one of the things that I talked about in the engine bay. It was kind of matte black, Rust-Oleum matte black. I've actually cleared that. It's super dusty in there and dark, but that has actually been clear coated, and it looks really, really nice. It is easier to clean, I will give it that. So I'm happy I made that decision to do that. One of the first things I did also is I went ahead and kind of reconditioned this fiberglass front bumper. I was going to put just a bar there, and I may make one, but right now this one I think is actually going to work fine for me. I don't see a point in actually getting rid of it at the moment. Obviously, last time that I showed an update, the car wasn't on the ground. Technically, it's still not, but it is on its wheels. So the front suspension has been installed. Everything on the front end, as far as control arms, like it's got a TMZ K member, it's got TMZ control arms. Then it's got a factory rack and pinion that I rebuilt. It's got a set of coilovers on the front, cast camber plates. It's actually really nice. It's very light. Like I said, it's a street car. It's not a race car, but it's nice to shed weight where you can, and it just cleans everything up. So that is done. The front of the car is back on the ground again. And then I did upload a video showing me rebuilding the rear end of this car. That has all been installed. That all went very well. Reconditioned some control arms, some aftermarket control arms, and put those in. Yeah, everything went well there. I cut 2 coils out of the springs, and it's still not sitting where I want it to sit. So I got to figure that out. I don't want to do coilovers in the back. There's no point in doing that. One, this car will be IRS one day, so there's no point in even doing the expense. But I like where the factory geometry, how everything is back there. I'm not a fan of putting weight on the shock supports. It just doesn't, I mean, they weren't ever really made for that. I'd rather have the spring pressure on the frame where it is now. So, you know, I like how it's already set up from the factory, and I really don't want to change that with coilovers. Not to mention, I can't find the correct ones. I couldn't find the correct ones that lowered it enough for me. So, but regardless, I'm going to get it as low as I can with how everything is set up from the factory until the day comes, if ever, that this thing gets converted to independent rear suspension. So, so that's that. That's the rear end. See, already, man, I made a lot of progress just that quick, didn't I? Before we get into the bodywork and all that stuff, engine has been rebuilt. This is the engine. This is just literally the engine that came out of it. 302. The only aftermarket thing that I did to this is I installed ARP head studs, because as you can see, there's going to be a turbo hanging off of this car one day. So basic ring and bearing rebuild. Didn't have a whole lot of money in it, to be honest with you. Everything went together perfect. All the measurements were exactly what they needed to be. So we went ahead and just did a ring and bearing job on it, and here it is. So these are the valve covers that came on it when I got it. So these were a mess, obviously. I may be able to roll in an old image of the engine. I just kind of blasted off what I could, scraped off all the rest of it, and then I did a polish on these, on the top of the valve covers, and then I went ahead and powder coated the rest of the valve cover. And you know, there's mistakes here and there, but it actually looks pretty good. Engine came out very, very nice, and I can't wait till the day comes where I can actually get this in there. So engine's done. We're good with that. Now this car is going to be getting a T5 for a while. They're cheap, and easy to work on. So honestly, yeah, it's definitely going to be getting a T5. I have not gotten that yet. That will come eventually. In the meantime, I'm not really ready to put the motor in. I could stick it in the engine compartment. That will definitely help with some panel alignment and things that I'm doing now, but I'm going to hold off for a little bit while longer because things may still change in the engine compartment. I'm not 100% sure. So, I mean, as far as it may get resprayed one more time. I just haven't made up my mind yet. So, outside of that, are we getting there? Yeah. So we're going to talk about the bodywork. So, all right. So we're going to talk about the bodywork. So obviously, I've done some things. There's a big gaping hole in the hood, and I've installed these flares. Now, the plan was to extend the factory flare to where it looked more like a factory look. Well, the more I did it, and I spent hours and hours and hours, especially on this quarter panel, the worse it looked. It just didn't look good. I blame myself, honestly, because I just didn't have the metalworking skill that I thought I did. So, yeah, I had to scrap it. So I ended up cutting all of that out. These are just 4-inch flares that I found on eBay. I literally did not change anything about them. I surface welded these on. People are going to rag me, I understand, but I did not want to belt weld these in. I don't have the ability to do that without warping the absolute crap out of the panel. So for me, I just stuck them on and welded them. And then I started grinding on it. And then, like, this is all that's left, just a little bit. So I'm just going to cover that with a little daub of filler and mold them in like I did the back here, and we're going to be good to go. That's how that's going to work. So I've got all 4 of them installed right now. I'm doing some work on that rear quarter panel on this side still. I still have that one to do, but I was a little nervous with them being 4-inch flares because that was way more than I was expecting. But it's fine. Actually, I think it looks really good. And then I've also got a little bit of wiggle room, so I can go even wider in the back. So that's a 295 back there right now. But I've got 2 inches of room on the inside and another inch and a half on the outside. So I could very easily go with a wider wheel and put like a 335 back there, and it will still fit. I can also go super wide on the front if I wanted to. I don't know what that's going to do. Like I said, it's mainly going to be a street car. This one's already got 255s on the front. So I could definitely go wider. It's a 9-inch wheel. But I want to see how this works first. I may even space it out just to kind of make the wheel a little bit more level with the back. But, as it is right now, I like the way it's coming out. So we'll see how everything goes. I'm finishing this side hopefully in the next couple weeks, and then I'll move over to the other side. My goal is to have this car in polyester, which is this pink stuff, the whole car in polyester before it gets cold out. So the roof is actually already in polyester. It's been that way for like a year. The roof is ready to block, final blocking and then painting. It took a long time to get to that point, but here we are. So this stuff looks terrible. What is this? This is going to be the Evercoat Optics. This stuff is actually really good. Really good stuff. The problem is I used a gun with a 2.0 tip on it, which is a fire hose, by the way. In that world, that's a fire hose. Well, it's not big enough. So I just had to spit this spray polyester on because I was already into it at this point. So I just had to spit that on, and then that's where I stopped. So I used up what I had, and then I still have to do the rest of the car, obviously, but I cannot do that until I get a gun with a 2.5 tip, because I'm not even going to try again, because this is going to take forever to sand down, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to be pissed enough when I'm done blocking this one. I don't want to have to deal with it again. So I'm just going to get a better gun with a 2.5 tip. That way I can get the rest of it sprayed. So the plan with Bodywork is to get that all straight, get the whole thing in poly, and then I'm going to block the poly, and then I'm going to spray it with urethane primer, another high build primer, and then just let that sit. So if I can get it to that point before winter, that'd be great. That way I can just let it sit and shrink for the entire winter. And then I will not be touching that until it is ready for painting. And that's, I mean, we're getting there. Rust is repaired. All the little rust holes and stuff that I had in here before. Floor is good. I think the last video I showed a hole back here somewhere. I got that all patched in. It's ready for final body work. I just have to get it all done. And then that's where we'll be. So, all right. So that is where we're at. Made some decent progress. So right now, I'm just focused on Bodywork. So I don't know how much content I'm going to have on that. Definitely every major stage of Bodywork, I'm going to make sure I film. I will film me painting the car. I'll make sure I do that when that time does come. Right now, I'm just focusing on the Bodywork, getting that done so that I can get, hopefully by spring, I'll have the chassis painted. The only thing I probably won't paint are the bumpers and then the fender and hood, but at least get the chassis painted, because I can't do that here. I actually got to tow it somewhere and have that done. The fenders and hood and stuff I can do here, that's not a big deal, but to do a big spray like that, I'm just not equipped, and my neighbors are very close to my garage, so I don't want to choke them out. I'll do a quarter panel or a fender or a door at a time, but I won't do a whole chassis. That's just too much around here, unfortunately. So maybe one day I'll get to a point where I can have a garage where I don't have to worry about my neighbors, but right now it is what it is. We just have to be respectful, as respectful as we can with everybody around me. So that being said, appreciate everybody for stopping by. Thank you for just swinging in and seeing where this bill is going. And before too long, I'll have more content out there. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out.